ugly white men. They don't look friendly. Who are those assholes anyway? It's like some ugly Dutch guys with guns. I'm guessing it wasn't particularly friendly to the current power. They look like they were either coming from or on their way to oppressing a black man. First order business, man. When I take my country back, first order business is take that shit down. Am I right or what? I'm kind of amazed. Tear that down.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
In July 2013, when I went to South Africa, 95-year-old Nelson Mandela was critically ill. And the country he freed from white minority rule was already in mourning, and already fearful of what the future might be without him.
It's really, really sad because the world still needs him. He's the guy who fought for our freedom.
I pray that somebody takes the baton from him.
I wish him a speedy recovery and come back to his people.
So a good friend of mine, a really great travel writer, said something that the more I travel, the less I know. I feel that particularly strongly here in South Africa, a place I came in a state of near total ignorance, loaded with preconceptions. For the first part of my life, the South Africa I knew was not a happy place or a good place. It was a pariah state, surrealistically, outrageously divided into black and white. A throwback to attitudes we thought we'd long learned to reject. The nationalist government in South Africa enacted apartheid laws in 1948. Who you could marry, where you lived, where you could walk, be educated, everything decided by racist laws backed by police, army, and secret services. The institutionalized racial discrimination was designed to maintain white minority power and economically suppress the black and mixed race South Africans who lived in townships, mostly in poverty. In 1923, the African National Congress was formed. By 1961, it had been radicalized by the influence of a young Nelson Mandela, among others, and formed an armed wing called the Spear of the Nation.
Do you see Africans being able to develop in this country without the European being pushed out?
We have made it very clear in our policy that South Africa is a country of many races. There is room for all the various races in this country.
In 1963, Mandela was charged with sabotage and conspiracy and sentenced to life imprisonment on Robben Island. It would take another 27 years of violence and injustice before the inevitable would happen.
You believe in apartheid. I believe that it is according to God's will that the white race should be preserved.
With South Africa's white minority under international sanctions, internal political pressure, and the decline of the communist threat, Mandela was released from prison in 1990. In '94, he was elected president of a new, free South Africa. There have been very few figures in the entire history of the world as revered or as important as Nelson Mandela. But the question is, what happens next? Johannesburg, or Joburg, or Jozi, the largest city by population in South Africa and the economic powerhouse of the country. Southwest of Johannesburg, Soweto, originally an acronym for Southwestern Townships. Now, the area is considered a suburb. In 2010, South Africa played host to the World Cup. The Blackjacks, who played for the opening celebration, are a Soweto-based band. They are also, not surprisingly, soccer fans. We're here on game day, a grudge match in a country where soccer approaches religion. You can feel it in Soweto, or rather, you can see it, as everywhere you look, people show their love for either the local Orlando Pirates or for the Johannesburg Kaiser Chiefs. Ma Willie's Inn, a typical local joint in Soweto. The perfect place to watch a game, talk about a game, drink yourself silly over the results of a game, or just have a very fine local-style meal. It is, however, a little hard to find. There are a lot of places like this. I mean, this used to be like the garage or the carport, right?
Yeah, definitely.
In what was once a garage are now 6 tables, a lawn-turned lounge out back. Closed on Sundays if grandma's visiting. These kinds of bars were born during apartheid times, when black South Africans not allowed to own businesses in white areas adapted and improvised. They did their own thing, created these little micro, under the official radar restaurants known around here as eat houses.
I mean, back in the days, obviously, it was illegal, you know.
Right.
Like during apartheid, that's where they'll have meetings to actually plan what they're gonna do.
Right, so this would be considered a hotbed of sedition and...
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's just a hotbed of drinking and...
Yeah.
Different kind of sedition.
Mpumi and Tsapeng from the Blackjacks have just finished watching the game when I joined them for some food. Generally speaking, are these good times to South Africa? Bad times? Transitional times?
Obviously, 1994 was the peak of the good time in South Africa. Then now with all the politics, you know, all the parties fighting, it's quite tense right now.
It's not like it was before, where everybody's, you know, it's black and white, literally. Right. You know, like we're unified on this and they're unified on that.
These days, the party that freed the country from white rule, the ANC, is not universally loved anymore. In recent years, they've been criticized for inaction, corruption, and cronyism, and opposition parties are gaining strength.
So now it's more nuanced, and I think that's maybe new to us.
Right.
So I think we're trying to navigate this nuanced reality. Like, how do you deal with so many opinions, and you know, the party that you loved the whole time that brought about this freedom is fumbling the ball. So what do you do? Because in democracy, you should act.
As the smiley for snack.
Ah.
Smileys, fire-roasted sheep's head, lips shriveled back in a Joker-like rictus of deliciousness, chopped into tasty, tasty bits and eaten with cold beer? Yes, of course, yes. Just needs a little salt and pepper. Good stuff. That looks good.
Yeah, this is pap.
And what is it?
It's like maize.
Pap, or meal pap, a sticky porridge made from ground cornmeal. It fills the role that grits do in the American South, rice in much of Asia. It's tasty, relatively nutritious, and cheap filler. And it sops up gravy when you have something like this stewed beef real good.
That's that traditional dumpling there.
That's a dumpling?
Yeah, it's not really like other dumplings.
Dumplings, important throughout the African diaspora. Made with flour and yeast, a spongy bread-type tool for mopping up sauce. Stewed greens, carrots, beans, and more gravy. Wow, that's awesome. So, tell me about your band. How long have you guys been together?
About 10 years now.
Whoa, long time.
Yeah.
Would you say you're an indie band?
Well,
is there an indie scene in what I guess I'm getting at? Is there a support? I was kind of getting there.
Is there South African Williamsburg?
In terms of South African street culture, people are really pushing the boundaries now. We didn't really have a scene when we started. You look around, it's like, man, like demographic is crazy.
What do you mean by that?
It's not just racial, the classes, you know, and people are being pushed and pulled. It's like an aspirational culture. Like,
what do you think that means?
the whole Rainbow Nation notion was quite romantic and ridiculous, you know, like racism is not on a piece of paper, so just because we voted it out doesn't mean people stop being racist, you know? So it was ridiculous in that sense, but we've lived something else for 20 years. People want it, it's no longer like a coffee table idea.
Good luck. This is Sansa Sandil.
You're looking nice, Nana.
Pioneer of sorts.
Respect that.
He's taken a traditional cook shop space in the Yeoville neighborhood of Johannesburg and done something different.
Hello, beautiful things. Where you been? How are you?
Yeoville is a neighborhood where just about everybody comes from somewhere else.
I came here around 20 years ago from Soweto. I grew up in Soweto. And then when we heard about the bells of change, we all ran to this central part of the city.
With the end of apartheid and the emergence of Mandela as not just an inspirational figure, but the beginning of real and compassionate Black African government, South Africa became a beacon and a refuge for millions of Africans from all over the continent. Black South Africans fought hard for their freedom, for their country. As I understand, a lot of them are pretty pissed off about, hey, we're just getting together and, whoa, all these Congolese and Nigerians, well, you know, they're coming in.
Of course, there's got to be that
right.
Giving and taking, you know. And then people have been saying Mandela's going to die, we're going to kick all these people away.
Right.
You know, that's not what our people are all about. And then now that's when I took, you know, the tool of food, because that was the first way to engage.
Sansa has no formal culinary training. He's completely self-taught, picking up bits and pieces where he can, often from the women in the neighborhood. So you're plucking the best of everybody's culinary culture?
Every day I learn. The smell, the colors they brought. What are you eating? Where are you from? You know, and being taught by some men, like, this is not how it's cooked at home, you know.
Right.
Go to that auntie. She's a back of some ginger club at the back there. There's a small kitchen. Look there, that's a bit nice. She'll teach you something, you know, and then that's me.
Wow.
When I'm, hey, auntie, you know, I'm really keen in how you're making your this particular sauce.
Oh, and they'll show you?
They'll show me stuff. And I pick up, and then I rush back to the shop and I try it out. So I got all the elements now.
At his cook shop, he mixes recipes, ingredients, techniques, and traditions as he sees fit. One reviewer described his style as gastronomic smuggling, moving people across borders with dishes that slyly partake of elsewhere. On today's menu,
I made this for you. This is a goosey and beef, a traditional Nigerian dish. Okay. They usually use a cow leg.
Beef stewed with melon and pumpkin seeds. There's futu, the ubiquitous cornmeal porridge, but made to a texture more crumbly than pap.
This is like basmati rice with rose water. This is achar, aubergines and mango, and then a pickle. And then this has got cassava in it. The Congolese.
Like a peas with cassava.
They with the cassava. These are the falafel.
Right. Good taste.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Do good food here. Menu change every day?
That's the idea.
You're doing a lot of great food in a small space.
There are no seats. His customers remain part of the constantly unfolding street theater of Yeoville. They mingle, talk, observe.
Lots of people, lots of stories pass through here. Lots of cultural interaction. Because everybody's got something interesting to say as far as we're concerned.
Really, because food, I knew that food is a way to really engage. You gotta put something in your mouth to get your ears open, you know.
Across town, another pioneer of sorts, an urban settler in a very different neighborhood. This is Hillbrow, a notoriously dangerous district, and this is DJ Les.
When I came here, I always dreamt of being a musician, and I see myself singing in front of a huge crowd, you know, making money in the process. That's what I dreamt about.
He spins records and promotes acts and events in nightclubs. We meet in his favorite spot, Sympathy's Restaurant. What's good? What do you like? Well, that looks good. Is that fried chicken?
There's a fried chicken.
The place is heavy with the smell of frying chicken, stewing greens. Walk right up, place your order, and be sure to get some meal pop. Heaped on a plate with beets and coleslaw, it's a nice, heavy base.
So tell me about the neighborhood.
When I first came, hey, it was rough, my friend.
492. It was like white business district, residential district.
Back then, okay, it used to be cool, it used to be clean, it used to be respected.
Once, Hillbrow was an elite whites-only center of town. But when things started to change, so did Hillbrow, becoming one of the first gray areas where whites and blacks mixed. Hillbrow became aspirational, a symbol of everything black Africans had long been denied, but was now accessible. People poured in large numbers, many of them squatters from all over the continent.
People come here with one intention: making a living, making money. Darkies, black guys start coming in, the white guys ran away.
White landlords and tenants simply walked away from their property. The disenfranchised who moved in legally, semi-legally, illegally, or just squatting, an influx of gangs and criminal organizations, the area soon slipped into anarchy.
There's a say around here, okay, that this building has been hijacked.
Entire buildings were seized to become superstores for illicit drug operations. Everything that could go wrong did.
People make a living from different things. Some they rob people to make a living. Some they sell their bodies. Sometimes things don't always go according to what you plan. Because this is where I live. This is where my life is. Yeah, we go down here. I'll show you.
We walk down the street and one of the many enterprises doing business on corners and in doorways around us becomes alarmed at the sight of our cameras. Soon there's a mob of very angry people coming our way. We do not turn around our cameras for obvious reasons. These days things are slowly improving.
But before, you wouldn't walk like this, freely. Now we are free.
There's actual law enforcement going on in fits and starts, and that's making a difference. Black-owned legitimate businesses have gained a real foothold. There are new revitalization projects like farmers markets springing up.
Hello, Dewey!
Buildings are being reclaimed and people here hope that Hillbrow is past the bad old days.
There's no fear now. You have to relax. Nothing will happen to you.
My name is Soweto, Uliang Pomakona Soweto, Uliang Pomakona Soweto, Uliang Pomakona Soweto. It's where I come from. Nipume fila kasi ya fila kasi split ya mangiting shayikona, Ubabu Mandela, mangiting shayikona, Desmond Tutu, Umamu Africa, Awini Mandela Soweto, Uliang Pomakona West, West, it's us West, 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 Uliang Pomakona West, West.
What's in a name? If the name is Soweto, you best believe it means plenty.
How are you?
This is Madhu. For over a decade, he's been in what has at times been the very difficult business of driving a taxi. You should probably know that the word taxi in Soweto means something a little different than, say, New York.
60% of the population is using taxi.
How many taxis in Johannesburg?
I would say more than 1 million.
This, coming from a potential passenger, means Soweto. Also, this and this. Johannesburg has an elaborate system of hand signals indicating desired routes of travel.
So you look at the hand signals and said, okay, I'm not going there, I'm not going there.
I'm looking at the hand signal.
In 1904, Soweto came into being as a less benign version of a housing project. It was designed as workers' lodging, a place to put black laborers comfortably removed from white society, a ghetto. By the 1950s, it had become the center of resistance to white rule, synonymous with the struggle against the whole rotten, racist system.
I remember one day, the situation was so bad in such a way that my mother had to put me inside a bath where we put shoes and hide me there under the bed. This is where I grew up most of the time. And sometimes you would get bullied. There was this time 2 guys were following me. They lifted me up and I had probably some few coins in my pocket and just turned me around. Just to shake me.
Shake you upside down?
Shake me upside down. I would never forget that moment in my life. I felt stupid, you know. Get on, ma.
How are you?
Hello.
Now there is a definite cachet to living in Soweto, a very real pride at having been at the very center of things back when it was hard and dangerous to have an opinion. Nelson Mandela lived here, Desmond Tutu. When you're a certain age and you say you were born and bred in Soweto, it means something.
Do most of these people own their homes or do they rent?
Most of the people own their homes.
They start to make a little more money, things start to get good. Can you build up?
Yeah, you can build up.
Look at the streets here and you see what that kind of pride does. It may not be a rich area, but it's immaculate, squared away, an emerging middle class coming up rather than fleeing to elsewhere.
Hey, having a nice day, gentlemen.
These ladies over here, as you can see, they're marketing for their stores.
You know where you're going, right?
Yeah, I know where I'm going.
Next exit, smoky delicious meat over flame. Under the overpass, all sorts of mystery meats for sale. The taxi man's lunch. We order some brisket, some sausage, some heart.
Beautiful thing.
Meat, a cutting board, a knife.
Cut out the meat in pieces, that's how you eat it. Most of the time they serve it with tomato and raw chili. And it's more or less like a salad food. We have salt over here. It's nice.
You chose well, these guys are good.
Oh.
Here, spread over thousands of square feet, the remnants of white colonial rule. What's left from the descendants of Bible-thumping Dutch settlers who came here to farm, to ranch, to build their own world on top of an existing one. The Boers, as they were known, came in the 1600s, and if nothing else can be said about them, they were a tough bunch of bastards. In the 1800s, the British came. Diamonds were discovered, greedheads jockeyed for power. There was war, and an ugly one. In the end, there was an uneasy sharing of power. The Boers became known as Afrikaners, and entering the 20th century, racist Afrikaner ideology grew. Apartheid laws were enacted, and white domination became the rule for almost 100 years. But look, meat. You want to see an expat South African weep, wave some of this under their nose. Biltong.
It's like a Mussolini-themed restaurant?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Neo-fascist butchery.
Oh, the good old days.
Doesn't really look like any butcher I've ever been into.
An hour north by northwest of Johannesburg is Pretoria, still the administrative center of South Africa, once the heart of apartheid. Here you can find Matters, a father-son butchery, restaurant, and theme museum. I just don't know how I feel about this place. It doesn't fit in with my white liberal guilt sensibility.
A room like this, with all of this kind of Afrikaner paraphernalia in it, it just wouldn't be accepted an hour away. Couldn't exist.
As any South African butcher would, they sell biltong. Sprinkle some salt, brown sugar, some malt vinegar, pack in layers, repeat. After 24 hours, remove and hang to air dry for a week. Voila, a tasty, jerky treat we can all get behind. Chef Andrea Bergner, South African by birth, English and German by background, can usually be found in the trenches of her Joburg restaurant, The Leopard. She's known for her playful menus, but loathes culinary fashion. She strives for a locally grounded cuisine. Today, however, she's my guide through this twilight zone. It's weird here. And though I'm told the place usually reflects the changing demographic of modern South Africa, today, not so much. The customers may or may not have feelings about the Afrikaner memorabilia, but really, they just come for the meat. You pick your meat at the butcher counter. We choose some T-bone, some rump steak, some boerewurst, spicy sausage made from beef and pork.
And then what we must get, because I assume it's separate, is monkey gland sauce. Do you know what monkey gland sauce is?
Monkey gland sauce.
Every steakhouse has monkey gland sauce. It's barbecue sauce.
They cook it up along with some pap and fries, and presto, a colon-clogging pile of meat in the ruins of empire.
Yeah, I mean, meat is a very big thing. This is the monkey gland, and there's enough of it, I think.
I mean, good Lord, I mean, I could swim in it.
Tastes like oppression.
After this show airs, I'm going to get a huge amount of mail saying, why didn't you go to Cape Town? Great modern restaurants, cutting-edge chefs. Is it all right that I missed all of that?
I feel like those particular restaurants in Cape Town are not really representative of what most people in this country are eating. I think a lot of our most basic stuff is really what we do best. This food is absolutely got no interest in fashion. It's never going to change. It'll still be the monkey gland sauce and the boerewurst and the steak and the pap.
Do you think the white chefs here understand that the greatest advantage they have is that this enormous Pan-African larder of ingredients and flavors?
No. If you're a whitey in this city, you're probably going to eat the worst food of anyone in this city, quite honestly. In every country, I mean, obviously food is political, but it always feels like it's a bit more political here. That there are these layers of things that you couldn't have, like restaurants. I mean, I go to restaurants and I think to myself, wow, this many years ago, I couldn't have come here with this person. They were not allowed to sit in here. And I remember very clearly being about 8, the cafe owner would regularly not pay the customer who was black what's change. He would pay him with bubblegum. And the guy, somehow, he couldn't argue. It was just like the same. If you were a black guy, you got your change in bubblegum. And you'd be standing there 8 years old and feeling like, oh my God, it was so terrible, but you couldn't say anything because that would have been worse. It was just like this weird thing of sweeties. It was so uninnocent and represented such badness. It just seems mad.
This is an eland, the largest antelope in the world. It is also, and luckily for him, delicious.
There's it.
Got it.
I think that was very good. No?
That's a little sad.
It is sad, it is sad. But you know what? That is such good meat, and that's really what we do.
Though this one weighs in around a ton, rest assured, every bite, every scrap will be eaten. Some of that tonight at dinner. Chef Andrea Bergner, Dion, a local hunting expert, and myself join Prospero Bailey on his game farm. Prospero's dad, Jim Bailey, was the legendary publisher of the slyly subversive Drum magazine, the first of its kind during apartheid, a black-oriented investigative magazine slickly disguised as glossy pop culture. Prospero's farm is a mere 20 miles from Johannesburg.
Did you see the city there?
Yeah, wild, all this within sight of the city.
Near Prospero's farm and hidden within the city's shadow is what's known as the Cradle of Humankind, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, an incredible look back at where we, the human animal, came from.
So now this is a classic little sinkhole. There's loads of these. This is what this area is. I mean, the cradle, this is called the cradle. It's now a World Heritage Site because 60% of all the evidence for human evolution comes out of this valley. It's from caves like this that keep the record. The geology just conspires to preserve fossils. They're very, very rare things, hominid fossils, but they've found more here in the last 10 years than they've sort of found anywhere. So you're home. This is where you start.
This is my ancestral homeland?
This is your ancestral homeland.
Oh, that sound makes me happy. What does that sound remind you of, guys? What does that evoke for you, that sound? Primeval, you know, happy childhoods at the beach, meat sizzling over the fire, you know, parental love, your enemy's genitals frying in hot oil. Nothing? No?
Downright Precambrian, fire and fresh-killed eland. I get to work on the heart, something I strongly suspect will be delicious, and I'm right. Andrea works some magic on the liver, dredged in flour and sautéed. There's some eland loin, seared and glazed with booze. And there's eland paprikash, a riff on the Hungarian stew with paprika, peppers, onions, tomatoes, and cream. As the sun sets over the veldt, Johannesburg's lights winking in the distance, a feast.
Meat on the plate, blood on my pants, life is good. I've been very, 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 very confused by my visit here. I mean, you've got basically a goulash here, Italian-inflected liver thing going on here. The bread, someone referred to as Portuguese?
Yeah, Portuguese, but it's from Madeira, that bread, that flat bread.
South Africa, depending on who I talk to, it's a completely different construct. To some people, it's whoever comes to South Africa from anywhere else in Africa and brings good along with them. But other people, it's all the good stuff from Malaysia, East Indies. There's the Dutch, there's the English influence.
Well, there were so many different colonialists. Exactly. It is a mishmash.
What at this table is originally African, and does that even have any meaning?
This wood is pine.
It's good.
And we are African.
Sitting around.
I arrived in this country spectacularly ignorant. I will leave spectacularly ignorant, okay?
Ramadan. At this hour, all over Johannesburg, members of South Africa's sizable Muslim community observe. The religion of Islam, as well as many of South Africa's most beloved and most delicious dishes and ingredients, like sambal, chutney, and bunny chow, come from Malaysia, Indonesia, India. During apartheid, many South Africans would have been referred to as colored. Colored didn't mean black, it meant everybody else who wasn't exactly white, Asians and mixed race.
It's garlic, ginger, and chili.
In the observatory neighborhood of Johannesburg, the Razdian family prepares for iftar, the meal at sundown when fasting for Ramadan is broken.
Some curry powder.
Joey Razdian is a stand-up comedian and actor of Cape Malay background.
The beef is in.
This dish, Penang curry with beef and eggs. Joey's wife Cindy prepares a chicken pie. Son Hakim makes the traditional Ramadan shake. Daughter Leia.
Everything smells terrific.
That's barley soup.
Nice.
It's nicer to have soup after you've not eaten the whole day. It's like, it's light and nourishing and filling and all of those good things.
There's also cheese and beef samosas.
These are delicious. You were born here, born in Johannesburg?
Yes, I was, yeah. I'm a Johannesburg guy.
So how are things?
It depends what type of things you're speaking about.
Basically, things work. Society operates the way society should. But on the other hand, in many ways, this is a new country.
It is. We're 19 years old.
Everybody's from someplace else.
Yeah. I think the Africans from the other countries see South Africa as a place of hope because there's a lot bustling here. There are a lot of opportunities. Lots of people make it from here. You don't find 3 million Germans coming here or 3 million French people coming here. It's Africans who come from far less to come and find a little bit of something here.
So how do you find South Africa so far?
Yeah.
I like it. I'm very comfortable here. I like a country where people have a sense of humor, and there's a lot of wall busting going on in this country.
All the time, from the top to the bottom.
20 years from now, what's South Africa going to be like?
Their generation, the born frees now, is the ones that's giving our current president lots of yell. The born frees is the ones that was born in the new democracy.
Right.
Or just before the first election, you know?
Right.
The born frees now, they like, look here, we went to school, this is right and this is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. But we had a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't part of a struggle. I don't care. Thank you for the struggle. I got Twitter now.
Now I want 5 bars on my 3G. I want Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
And it better be high speed.
Absolutely.
And why can't I have it?
Why can't I have it?
I don't think the current politicians foresaw that.
Yeah.
Foresaw the born
frees going.
Not supporting them.
There's a critical mass of young people that wants to change South Africa in a positive way. How they do it or how they go about it, I don't know the answer to that. Neither do they know the answer to that, but their intentions is clear.
No more hipster jokes. It's low-hanging fruit. And one can no longer argue against the steady creep of their foodie sensibilities. Artisanal cheeses? Yes, right over there. Handmade charcuterie? Yes, there. Thin crust pizza? A very respectable paella? Yes, yes, and yes. It's official. They're here, and they aren't going anywhere.
I like the idea of a burger for breakfast. There's something a little perverse about that.
Throw in a crowd of much more racially diverse, hungry people, and you might think you're in Brooklyn. Surely, this is not a bad thing. This is Neighbor Goods Market in the Bramfontein precinct of Johannesburg. My dining companion, City Press Arts and Features writer, Percy Mabandu, says we should hold out for this, the Balkan Burger.
Next! One with cheese for me.
All right, one with cheese, lots of cheese.
Hell yeah, flattened ground beef seared over flame.
Yeah, don't cook me, cook the food, right?
Add kashkaval and mozzarella cheese, fold it up, pick your condiments. You got cabbage, tomato, onion, lettuce, of course, and hot peppers. Up to the roof with a view and eat.
Ooh, spicy, good. I guess I want to talk about Nelson Mandela, because what I was not aware of at all was the degree to which he was personally responsible for really the nuts and bolts of the transition from white rule to majority rule.
All right.
Now he's very ill.
Ill, yeah.
What happens after Mandela, do you think?
We go on. I think the foundation is laid. And I think, thank God, we have him as a symbol. I think Mandela represents our collective better intentions as a nation. The touchstone test that we use to chart the way forward.
All the things that could have gone terribly wrong. It's a remarkable thing how well it
happened.
It went.
Between 1990 and 1994, tough times. Internecine fighting, black-on-black violence, the fear of black-on-white violence. Are we going to descend into a bloodbath? But we transcended that through that message of coming together regardless of the unresolved issues.
To what extent is it really a rainbow nation? Are things getting mixed? We like to think we live in a rainbow nation, but in fact, in the States, black and white live to a great extent in different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It's only 19 years. In some ways, it looks to me, outside looking in, a little more gracefully mixed up than we've managed to pull off successfully in the States.
Here, you've got black, white, colored, all sorts of people here. But I think, in all fairness, also, one should acknowledge that the economic disparities are managing to keep us divided as well. I think what we need to do is unpack what we mean by rainbow. I think the idea of uniting in our diversity also means that, there'll be moments of discord.
And you think things will continue to improve?
Yeah, I think we've seen our worst. And that's not to say that we're getting it right all the time. But it's an experiment with democracy. And experiments you need to fine-tune as you go along. That's really the South African story. The dream is there, we all agree. The divisions are there, but these are not bigger than our hopes.
What did I know about South Africa before I came here? Exactly nothing, as it turns out. But I think based on what I've seen, that if the world can get it right here, a country with a past like South Africa's, if they can figure out how to make it work here for everybody, absorb all the people flooding in from all over Africa, continue to make Mandela's dream a reality, maybe there's hope for the rest of us. I went looking for the dream of Africa. I woke up in Tanzania.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
The narrow streets and neatly dressed school children of Zanzibar's Stone Town make it feel like a very different Africa than I've ever known. It's tight, small. The architecture speaks of many layers, of a hierarchy long gone, but still evident. The famous Zanzibari doors, for instance, meticulously carved of mahogany and teak. The patterns reveal details of the original inhabitants' ethnicity and professions. Brass spikes evoke similar doors in India. The lotus flower, a historically Egyptian symbol, is meant to promote fertility. And chains, a reminder that this once was a central hub of the slave trade. What Zanzibar is today is definitely and overwhelmingly Muslim, 99% of the population. And you see its strong influence everywhere you look. The children in hijab coming from the madrasa. The streets are neat, and private homes, even of the very poor, are maintained with great pride. The call to prayer, 5 times a day. Zanzibar, part of Tanzania but also a semi-autonomous state, sits just 30 miles off the coast of the mainland.
The minute you cross the ocean from mainland, the minute you enter Stone Town, you feel like you're in a different country, and a different culture, different vibe.
Saleh Said is a native Zanzibari and former tour guide, and he knows his way around these parts.
So, what are our options here?
This is what we call mandazi.
Mandazi, a classic Swahili treat, basically an African donut or flipper. And bahiyas, a fried lentil fritter, Indian, spiced with cumin, turmeric, and coriander.
Grab a cup of coffee?
Yeah, let's do it.
If you live here, if you're from here, chances are you start your day with some bitter, spiced coffee, talk about the issues of the day. Politics for one. Maybe a pastry.
You like yours?
Oh, that's good. So, you're born and bred here?
In Zanzibar.
How long has your family been here? How far back you guys go?
I'm half Indian, half African, and my mother's been here 4th generation.
4th generation, so that's starting out in?
Late 1700s.
Wow. Who built Stone Town? Who built this neighborhood?
The construction started in about 1830s during the Portuguese colony. We had Portuguese, yeah?
Right.
Omanis stayed from 1846. They left in 1964, but they lost a lot of power in 1896.
Confused? Let's take a step back. The Persians were the first major power to set up here back around 975 AD, expanding their empire onto the strategically positioned island. Then the Portuguese used Zanzibar as a hub for their slave trade and spices. Then the Omanis did the same, ultimately with the British, who ruled through them. 1964, revolution. As with most revolutions, the days following were violent, chaotic, and ugly. After overthrowing the mostly Arab government, reprisals.
It wasn't independence, it was revolution, where more than 3,000 Arabs were slaughtered, and a lot of Indians were slaughtered and removed out of this country.
But your family stayed?
My family stayed.
Why?
There was no money in the family for them to move out.
So it was just there was no option?
There was no option.
To stick with what was left?
Yeah.
Tough times?
Very tough times.
And about 2 hours from Stone Town, this is Jambiani, a tiny fishing village. Here, the first revolutionaries would meet and plan for an independent Zanzibar. Zanzibar's first post-revolution president, Abeid Amani Karume, served until his assassination in 1972. This, too, is Abeid Karume, grandson of the country's first president. Well, what was this situation back, the political situation back then?
Well, it wasn't good. Basically, it was the English on top, Arabs in the middle,
right,
and then the Africans way, way at the bottom. And it was a form of apartheid, you know.
Was this village sort of a center for revolutionary?
This village was important in terms of the political support prior to the revolution. When my grandfather and my grandmother were staying right here, and they had meetings on the field, right over there. Yeah. That's where they would have their meetings. To raise support for the African and Shirazi people, their identity. Its objective was to give equal rights to all people of Zanzibar. Of course, revolutions aren't the best thing sometimes when it comes to peaceful transition. Well, this is the house of Wana Hassani and Bimwaka. They're preparing a wonderful lunch for us. Ode! Bimwaka! Kuna mgeni wako hapa. Mzee Hasani yupo? This is Mwaka. She used to take care of my my grandmother many years ago.
I'm looking forward to lunch. Bimwaka was a close family friend to Abid and his grandparents, and she's putting together quite a spread. Coconut rice, freshly caught fish called tassi simmered in broth of garlic and lime, topped with mchuzi, a fresh salad of chopped tomato, eggplant, cucumber, and potato. Another fish, kabua or mackerel, marinated in lime juice and garlic, then pan-fried.
Now this is good.
Whoa, that's looking good. So, coconut rice.
Yeah.
Chapati bread.
Yep, that's it.
From the other side.
Yeah.
Other side of the water there.
That's it. This is cassava.
Cassava. Wait.
3 different types of
and
fish.
fried bread. Wow, what a spread here.
And you can use your hands.
Good. Fish I can do by hand. The rice, I'm gonna need help. Good.
What do you think of the mohogo? It's nice, huh? The cassava.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's very good.
The rice is great too. Whatever your feelings on revolutions, it is probably worth remembering that they start in places like this. People talking. And when they are won, they are often won by people who sat at the feet of the original planners. People who look like this. Look at all these kids. Watch out. Future revolutionaries.
Exactly. New ideas coming in that change things come from them. Think about it. I mean, the challenges we face as a small island country. I mean, doesn't the whole world face a similar challenge?
Yeah.
How to preserve all these things, how to find balance. For me, I see Africa as a whole. I see a very interesting time.
Hopeful?
I'm very hopeful, actually.
Optimistic?
I am optimistic. I think the Zanzibari people are great people. And if given the opportunities, I think they can put a lot on the table, not only for themselves, but also for the culture of East Africa, and possibly even the world. I think they're great people. Why not? Sky's the limit, right?
Say you're going to Zanzibar and people will tell you about the street food. It's pretty impressive. In Stone Town's Fordani Gardens, every night, vendors set up an insane variety of every iteration of seafood snack.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love some of that.
The first one here, we got tiger prawns. We got some shrimps. We have octopus calamari mixed with masala spice. We have a scallop, shellfish. We have a mussel, small shell. We have like a tuna fish, blue mali, red snapper, korashai, mahi-mahi, and red snapper.
Good.
So welcome.
I think, let me try some of the octopus.
So how about lobster? Yeah, with masala spice, but it's not hot. When you feel hot, we give you chili
I like
mango.
hot. All right, good. Give me some chili mango with that. Okay, good. Octopus, chewy but tasty. Lobster's working for me. Too spicy for you, man. Now, believe me, only one of us is gonna be shitting like a mink tonight. And it's not gonna be you. Ooh, the famous Zanzibar pizza. Awesome.
Carrot onion, beef, tomato fresh, cheese, mayonnaise with egg.
Sounds awesome to me. Looking good. Thank you. Weird and wonderful and damn.
These stands are extremely popular with locals and visitors alike, so of course the government raised the rents. One guy, Juma, decided to pick up and move his place a bit out of town. His customers came with him.
It's Juma.
Hey Juma, how are you?
Juma.
So, what are we having?
Yeah, your choice of beef on the stick, chicken on the stick, half chicken, and all the spices and sauces that they have here.
Right.
I've ordered beef for now.
Beef good. Now let's get half a chicken.
Half a chicken?
Yeah, sure. Juma's is famous for his chicken.
Hey!
The bird is slathered with a mixture of garlic, lime, coriander, ginger, salt and pepper. Then it's grilled and served either as satay or whole pieces topped with tamarind chili sauce.
Preparation for all this, they start in the morning, preparing, cutting, and then they come here at 6:30, and they finish about 10.
How many guys are working here?
There's about 6, 7 of them.
6 or 7 of them.
All around the table.
Wow, this is a big operation. Okay, he's finishing the skewers. I guess he's half cooking or saucing. He's reheating, finishing the skewers. That guy just does set up plates for him to top with meat. And then I guess they got the bread and sauce and finishing and to go also. What are they squirting on the fries?
There's hot sauce, there's ketchup, and there's tamarind.
They say you never go hungry here. There's always food in the street.
If you come here to buy 10 skewers, you'd end up actually buying 20 or 30 because somebody's always asking for food.
Right.
And you always buy. It's just a culture. No one says no to each other for food. Yeah,
there we go.
And you use the stick as your fork.
Hot, hot, hot. Oh. Where do you think the recipe came from? This is a real mixed up history here.
It's mostly Arabic, Indian components have been in it. The spices, most of the trees like mangoes came from India, pineapples came from Brazil.
Tamarind, Southeast Asia, like not even India.
You get in India.
Damn, that's good. Tell ya, the chicken's really awesome. Might need some more of this. I like it in the heat, man. Good stuff. Incredible.
The 250-mile flight from Zanzibar across the water to the town of Arusha takes just an hour and a half. But culturally, you might as well be flying from Texas to the Philippines. Kilimanjaro, into whose white peak Hemingway's gangrenous hero saw himself disappear as he slipped into death. From there, we head into the Serengeti. A journey of this kind, one must expect the occasional setback. We reach the eastern edge of the Serengeti, where it's a steep climb to the rim of the magnificent Ngorongoro crater. Once a massive volcano that somewhere around 2.5 million years ago collapsed in on itself, creating this caldera. A true lost world. Inside the crater, an entire ecosystem within an ecosystem. Wildlife pretty much stay put. Coming to drink? Well, right below my place. It's nice. Very, very nice if you find yourself here. A hot bubble bath awaits after a long day in the bush. Perhaps a dry sherry from a cut glass decanter. The next morning, one rises to breakfast in one's chambers, on the balcony perhaps. Silver service, hot coffee, freshly baked croissant.
Morning. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Enjoy it.
The rules of the house, while slightly restricting, are sensible enough. And given the luxurious surroundings and the view, hardly a burden.
I'm not supposed to wander around at night here unescorted. There's like lions and hyenas and elephants and stuff. And while I'm told the baboons can get rapey, there were no knocks on the door. You know, I know what you're thinking already. You're not gonna do what I think you're gonna do, are you? You're not gonna go out there and like shoot some beautiful animal in the brain. No. Answer, no. What kind of sick wants to shoot an elephant? Even the toilet has a nice view. This is pretty much what you see as you're sitting on the snakes. Idyllic natural setting and good plumbing. It's pretty much paradise. It's nuts driving into the Serengeti. After a short while, you actually get used to the Jungle Book scene playing out in front of your car. It's interesting to see the giraffe and wildebeest, zebra. They all seem to hang out with each other. No conflict at all.
Pretty much there's no conflict in what they want to eat. It starts with the elephants, buffaloes taking the big stuff out. Zebras follow down, and then the wildebeest are the really close crop.
My guide is Colin McConnell, a fourth-generation African born in Kenya, who lives in Tanzania and knows this area like I know the deli counter at Barney Greengrass.
So this is the edge of the woodland here. Just about every tree you see here that's lying on its side hasn't fallen over out of choice. It's been pushed over by elephants. There's an elephant over there, guys.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
There's a big bull.
Magnificent. Will he charge us?
No.
If we piss him off?
If we pissed him off, he would. They sleep so soundly, these zebra. You can creep right up and suddenly jump up.
Zebras and more zebras. So many you almost get bored seeing a herd of them. Giraffes looking only slightly irritated to be interrupted. And ever more massive herds, stadium-sized crowds of wildebeest, a fish concert of these unkempt-looking things every few hundred yards. All that's missing is the hacky sack.
Everyone's come to terms with now that the wildebeest migration means wildebeest jumping into rivers. I mean, the fact that that only happens 2 months of the whole year, the rest of the year they're trekking through the bush. But to me, this is so much more spectacular. You see these big numbers. You'll be in an area this morning that was full of wildebeest and go there this afternoon and there's not one. They've moved.
Thousands and thousands of wildebeests on their annual migration are everywhere. A big circle stretched out across Tanzania and into Kenya in search of prime grazing. It's all about water and grass and a good place to make babies.
I mean, look at this little guy. He's keeping up with his mum.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Within 15 minutes of being born, they're up and standing.
Right.
Running as fast as their mums within a couple of hours. There's a wildebeest that didn't make it.
How old is that, you think?
A day or two.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
very
all.
fresh, very fresh.
Wow.
You don't want to get lost here. You definitely don't want to be on foot, outside your car, or injured, for instance. Nature, as they say, is a cruel mistress. It takes care of its own without mercy. The evidence of this cruel math called survival is everywhere.
Non-immediate family are not going to help a brother out.
No, you'd think, huh?
start limping, first come the hyenas.
The hyenas see the vultures dropping.
Right.
That's a key to them that there's some food up. And the vultures really need the hyenas to rip open the skin to start eating it.
By the time they finished ripping out your soft parts, treating your femur like a chew toy, the vultures and the marabou storks, lovingly called the undertaker birds, have been waiting for their turn. I don't know about you, but whenever I have cause to reflect on a pack of hyenas tunneling into an ass and ripping out the guts, I think, you know what? I could really go for some pesto right now. By Lake Masek, we pause for lunch. Indigenous specialties like penne with pesto, steamed baby corn and snow peas, grilled tomatoes sprinkled with Parmesan. Oh look, brownies.
Wait, those hippos are coming in close.
Yeah, they can smell the pasta. Or maybe.
They love pesto. They're coming ashore.
You're safe.
Over thankfully cold beers, I learn who is really the most dangerous animal around here. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Lovable Funny Hippo, always in a tutu in the cartoons, a vicious, unpredictable, and apparently incredibly fast-moving killer.
You know, you happen to leave here and go for a pee behind the tree there.
Yeah.
And come face to face with this hippo. A hippo would easily outrun you. One big chomp, big tusks go straight through you, chop you in half.
Just get between them and their mud hole and they'll be all over you like Justin Bieber's bodyguards. It can get ugly.
What do hippo penises look like?
I have no idea.
A hippo never emerges from the water with like a hippo hard on.
Not that I've seen.
Really?
No, they're underwater. I don't go snorkeling.
I find that comforting to know.
They are among the last great warrior tribes on Earth. Semi-nomadic, they believe that all the world's cattle are a gift of the gods to them, the Masai people. They move with their animals across the Tanzanian plains, setting up homes where they find the best grazing. Their cattle are everything. The wealth of the family, units of currency, givers of milk to live, and on special occasions of meat and blood. The Masai construct their villages or bomas like this as strategic hamlets designed to repel and discourage predators.
You have a lot of livestock coming in here. A lot of the other, like the migratory games, they've all taken off. So this area is quite famous for the cats, for the big cats.
The big cats, lions, roam free here, an area of the Serengeti called Ndutu.
It's the paradox. I mean, the lions are an enemy to them. They are a competitor, but they're also something that they greatly admire. It's the map.
Swedish native Ingela Jansson, a field biologist with the Serengeti Lion Project, is trying to find a balance between the needs, traditions, and basic identity of the Masai people and the outside world's desire to protect these beautiful killing machines. This is what can happen when a Masai warrior defending his cattle takes on a hungry adult lion. Nobody wants this. For the Masai, being apprised of the comings and goings of the lion population is a useful thing. Preferable to find out in advance, one would think, and take evasive action, than the alternative. But remember too, and respect, that the Masai have always defined themselves and their identities by their enemy. A tribe of proud warriors. What happens when there's no one and nothing to fight? Ingela has brought several Masai onto her team to show them up close the lions they share this land with.
So often on my days out when I'm working with the Masai, you don't eat at all. You get a cup of tea in the morning, and then if you're lucky in the rainy season, you'll get either fresh milk or this.
This is amasi, by the way, a lumpy, yogurt-like drink central to the Masai diet.
Cheers.
Cheers. And before you say yuck, it might be worth noting that between their nearly 100% protein diet of meat, blood, and dairy, the Masai are known to have near superhuman cardio, Olympic-level stamina and condition. They can run miles at a time without rest or water and can basically kick your ass at near any physical contest given half the chance. So help yourself to some sour, lumpy goodness.
Not bad. A little honey, some raisins in there. Good to go.
It's so different here, like the rainy season, dry season, such different challenges. What do you think of going under here?
I'm okay with it.
Currently, Ingela has been tracking two lions in particular, Ramos and Puyol.
Oh, Ramos is there. Safi. You see him?
I see, yes, I do.
Yeah.
There they are. I see them. Wow. Two of them.
Yeah.
You like them, don't you?
Oh, they're magnificent. They're very admirable. He's a bit of a warrior, that one. But, should we try and approach them?
Yeah.
When you go for lions, you don't never drive straight on them.
Right.
You kind of go at an angle. That relaxes them a lot more. It's funny how they pretend they don't see you. They're so completely aware. So basically what we look at to identify them are the spots. It's like their fingerprint. Puncture wound in his face, that means he's fighting with females. Like if they fight with another competitor males, it'll be, the wounds will be on the back. It's too dangerous to go for the head area if they're fighting. The reason for the collars is to see how lions behave to cope with threats in the area, to show that lions and Masai can actually stay together. They've always lived together. For the Masai, one of the diminishing things for them is large rangelands. It's the same resource that a lion needs. If push came to shove and one part had to go, it wouldn't be the wildlife. That's bringing in far too much money for this country. So if they can show that they're actually fundamental to protecting this area and protecting the lions, well, then it's the better for them as well.
What's total population of lions, do you think, countrywide?
Tanzania probably houses 25 to 50% of the total population of lions, so it's an important country for it. And the last estimate is 30,000 lions remaining in. I think it's not so much the worry of the size, but it's the rapid decrease. We've lost large predators in the big part of the world. The world carries on. You would probably have other predators to take their place. You know, there'd be the hyenas, there'd be the cheetahs, there'd be the leopards. Of course, they couldn't take the big prey like the lion does. If you think about it that way, lions are a big show of an ecosystem that is healthy. They're important to that. 22 hours of the day, they relax. Just let me know when you've seen enough of sleeping cats.
Yeah, they are beautiful.
Just a few miles from the crater's rim, Misigio village. About 400 Masai live here. Oledorup is the chief. He has 4 wives, 12 children, a handful of whom are old enough to be out looking after the herds.
Where are you from, Tony?
I was born in New Jersey and live in New York.
Oh.
You have a son in New Jersey, yeah?
Yes, yes. He studied in one of the college known as the Montclair State.
Oh, sure. I know Montclair very well.
Oh, yeah?
Near where I grew up.
Oh, yes.
Wow, look at that cloud there. There's going to be some downpour. Well, do you think it comes here, Oldodoro?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah.
Not us.
It's funny, like they always know what the clouds are doing. Since the weather report's out here.
The Masai have been migrating with the seasons since they came to this part of Africa sometime in the 15th century, long, long before the Serengeti became a national park. And here we run into the kind of existential conflict we'll be seeing more and more of as the world decides what they value most. Unspoiled expanses of nature, populated still with magnificent, wild, but aggressively protected animals, or the indigenous people.
The aim for our project is promoting coexistence with lions. So when I came here to start up Lion Guardians, but there were many among the Masai that were very suspicious.
No. Why?
They thought this is going to lead to us being kicked out. That's a constant fear in this area.
Because in the past, the Masai go to find the lion where they are, and they kill. But today we stop that. Or we can kill if no way.
If you have no alternative.
Yeah. That's why we have a spear. We are not hunters people, but we carry the spear all the time for protection only.
The Masai, they trust that we're not here to kick them out, that we're here to work with them. And we're foreseeing that we're going to be able to start the Lion Guardian project, which basically you hire Masai to protect the lions rather than kill them.
With all of the cattle the Masai people have, how do you protect them from predators?
The animals are very smart enough. If you do not bother them, they do not bother you.
So well, how about when they're grazing?
When they're grazing, we have people who follow how to.
And that's enough
follow.
to discourage hyenas
Yes,
or lion?
Yes, but sometimes they're happy lions. So they're making allowed to show themselves that they are very happy. And the way to make that, they say, woo, woo, that's make you happy, you know. And that's if they just like to catch something, you can hear very close, rolling like, and that stop. But that's allowed like, woo.
That's a happy one.
That's a happy one.
No problem.
No problem.
But that purring one, the second noise, that's not good.
That one is not good.
That's not a here kitty situation.
Oh, this one must looking for finding food, maybe.
Okay. Wow. My cat hates me.
Yeah.
Okay, this, a lot of you are going to find very disturbing.
So, I'm guessing the little goat over there is about to get the bad news.
Come now. Don't touch like this.
I try and be a good guest. I eat what my hosts put in front of me. I try to take responsibility if something dies for my dinner.
Stand here?
No, here. All this in the hold.
So when the chief asks if I care to do the honors and tells me how it has to be done, I'm not happy. In fact, as I close off its air passages, I'm struggling to not throw up on myself.
Yeah. Tony, do you know how to skin it? Can I show you?
Enough.
Maybe I can show you and then I can go ahead, okay?
The Masai traditionally kill their goats by suffocation. For very good reason, it turns out. To keep the blood, which is a vital component for the Masai diet, intact and abundant in the chest cavity.
We continue now to take the skin out so you can cut here.
Just right through?
Yeah. Oh, good. Here now. You cut like this. Good. Then continue like this.
More?
Yep. A little more. Good.
Good, everything's intact, beautiful.
This is blood, so all the blood
So it filled up the cavity
Yes.
and started to get
Yes.
coagulated.
Yes, yes.
I get it now.
And it's easier now to take the blood out.
Right.
See?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really, I've never seen that. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yes. Someone like to drink fresh?
Sure. Hey, not bad.
Oh, it's good. People, they eat this one fresh.
That's a kidney.
Yeah. You like a piece?
Yeah, just a little piece. Little.
Deed done. It's time for a little kidney. Enjoy the spoils, then party.
Sweet. Actually, that's good. I like them better like this than cooked.
Well, smelling good. Osinoni.
Osinoni, yeah, that's true. They're smelling good. I'm not too much of a meat eater, but this, I kind of like the goat.
Even on the Serengeti, it ain't a barbecue if there ain't some kind of beer.
Normally, the Masai, we love honey. We have what we call honey beer. You drink it just very strong. So we have here.
Love to try some.
I
noticed a palpable change in the mood.
We are not alive. Yeah.
Say kwanza.
Welcome.
Asante.
Endorado.
Not bad.
Tasty. Oh, it's refreshing as well.
It's like a palm wine or even like kind of pulque-like taste also.
You can definitely taste the honey.
Yeah.
The sweetness of it.
According to our culture, everyone has carried a big knife.
Everybody's ready.
Yeah.
Many aspects of their lifestyle and traditions remain unchanged.
Awesome. Perfect.
This does not mean that Masai don't have cell phones, by the way. Everybody does.
As you say, when you are talking that, how can we balance this? Because we're now looking to send our children to school, getting a good education, but we still stay in a very strong culture. Yeah, it's really coming like a hard time, but we continue.
Well, that's another question. You know, when your son comes back from New Jersey, you know, is your son going to want a motorcycle? Is he going to want a car? Is he going to want a flat screen TV?
I don't know for the future because, as you know, the children, they are very quickly changing their mind. Maybe one day coming as a New Jersey boy, I don't know.
It's beautiful, this country, this part of Africa. Geographically huge, but not really, as the world and what we need to live in it shrinks every day. Who gets to live here? Who or what do we want to see? Is, for better or worse, going to determine that. Nearly $1.5 billion is spent here every year by people who come wanting to look mostly at beautiful animals. That is an amount that is hard to argue with and impossible to outrun.
Prosperity is productivity, not just hard work. You can be very hardworking and still be broke if you are not productive. Your life condition today is an outcome of choices and decisions made in time past. Good choices, bad choices, easier choices, or no choices at all.
I took a walk through this beautiful world. Felt the cool rain on my shoulder. Found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la.
Lagos, Nigeria's megacity. One of the most dynamic, unrestrained, and energetic expressions of free market capitalism and do-it-yourself entrepreneurship on the planet.
When you have a place of 20 million people, they have to eat, they have to wear clothes, they have to do all sorts of things. I mean, Lagos is a testimony to the resilience and to the ingenuity of the Nigerian spirit.
Buy, sell, trade, hustle, and claw. Make your own way, any way you can.
Nobody does any one job in this country.
They say you have to have 3 hustles.
Yes. You see people making watches from scraps. There are people who make shoes. I'm wearing something that's made by a Nigerian. I provide my own water. I provide my own power because I have a generator, I have an inverter. There's an energy in Lagos, the hustle and the bustle.
Nigeria, it's your boy MC on this one.
With a ridiculously overburdened infrastructure and a history of egregiously bent leadership, they long ago learned that ain't nobody gonna help you in this war. Pick up a broom, a hammer, buy a taxi or a truck, build a bank or $1 billion company, and get to work.
I will push myself, I will do what I need to do, I'll do whatever it takes to take care of myself and my family.
Am I on Victoria Island right now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is the promised land.
This is Manhattan.
Victoria Island, the Garden of Dreams, where the winners work and play. There's money in Nigeria, lots of it, mostly from oil, agriculture, and services like banking. Lagos alone is the 5th largest economy in Africa. 9,000 millionaires and billionaires, many of Africa's richest people, live here.
50 years ago, there were 300,000 people in Lagos. There are now
Almost 20 million.
Around 20 million.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of people leaving wherever they were,
Yep.
coming to the big city, looking to get a job, looking to make it big.
Absolutely.
The smartest, the fastest, the best, the brightest, make it over here.
Yep. It's that place. It'll make you or it'll break you, sink or swim.
Sheena Peller owns Quillox, one of Africa's most exclusive nightclubs.
I built the nightclub by myself, my construction company.
Banky Wellington is an artist and businessman.
I'm a record label owner, I'm an actor, I'm a director, I do videos and TV commercials, I'm in advertising, I'm in real estate. I'm training to be a chef.
Why work so hard? I mean, you don't have to hustle. Life is good, business is good. Why are you doing so many things?
That is just something that is common in Nigeria, you know. There's the eternal Nigerian optimism that tomorrow is going to be better
Where
than
does
today.
that come from? Why are Nigerians so optimistic?
I think that it's born out of necessity. You know, you're either going to make it or you're going to be screwed. You almost don't have a choice. You need to be trying everything possible. I must make it. I must be successful.
Right over there, Victoria Island, that's the Nigerian dream, right? If I just hustle enough, if I figure out a way, I have a master plan, God's help, I'm going to end up over there. It's close. It's really close. How do you get from here to there?
It's impossible. The government and the people in power made poor people perpetually poor.
This is the other Lagos, Makoko, a city within a city.
This community has been in existence for over 100 years.
This used to be a little fishing village.
Yeah. Yes.
People started showing up, no plan, build your own house.
It's a community that has been built, not based on government plan. It is an ingenuity of the people.
How many people live here?
The whole waterways.
The whole waterways.
The whole waterways will be about 100,000 people.
Ọkàn tó kú ojú ọgbọ̀n ẹ̀rín ẹ bá délé mi o. Ẹ kí bàbá mi fún mi ẹ bá délé mi o. Ẹ kí yeye mi fún mi ẹ bá délé mi o. Ẹ bá mi kọ́ ọmọ ọlọ́kọ̀ ní ilé ìṣẹ́rí.
It's a fully functioning community. And I've seen barbershops, restaurants, groceries, hotels,
hospital, private schools.
Self-made, self-run, self-policing, independent of everything. It exists because it has to.
I mean, there's electricity, there's the water, all of this you provide, yes?
Yes. Yeah, we provide.
Edauto Agbeniji is a musician and activist.
This community started from nothing. Now it's booming and the government is coming to seize it.
They want to get you out, right?
Yes.
They like to build hotels.
Yes.
Yami Mesu, the son of a neighborhood leader.
But they've been forced to stop.
No, it's not. They're not stopping. We've been able to halt them. 2-3 weeks ago, there was another community on the other side of Lagos. On the island. It was also demolished.
They just come and demolish.
These people living here, their source of livelihood depends on fishing. They are fisher people. So if you take them to the mainland, it's like taking the fish out of water.
Out of water. You can't survive. You can't survive. You can't survive.
What do we got here?
Okay, this is called moyo.
Moyo.
We eat it with this cassava flake.
Mm-hmm.
We call it eba.
All right.
And here we call it gali.
That looks good. Good. Delicious. All the children I see.
Yeah.
Going to school. What will they do? Will they stay here and take up the family business, or are they going to move on?
Some will grow up to become accountants. They'll become professionals. But what would a lawyer do? What would an accountant do when there is no food? Most of the fishes that have been sold to the rich men in government were actually taken from this village.
Right.
We need people that do fishing, do farming.
But you're going to need lawyers.
Definitely.
You're going to need.
Everybody needs everybody.
To do well in business, don't just be religious, be hardworking and be full of ideas. You need all these to birth a real miracle.
The Computer Village.
Yes, this is Computer Village. It's your tech hub. They sell everything here. Mobile phones, computers, any kind of digital equipment you're looking for, this is where to find it. It's said to be a $2 billion market.
Public money is generated in Lagos not so much by oil, but by the free market, a Wild West free-for-all of private enterprise.
It grew organically, not by government intervention.
It just happened.
It just happened. Everything is cramped into this small ecosystem. You have one small store, somebody selling mobile phones right in it, and in front of him you have another guy who's selling applications for the phones, a repair guy, he's right there, and it works. That's the amazing thing about it.
Tunji Andrews is a journalist, radio host, and an expert on the Nigerian economy.
The guys who fascinate me are these kids sitting there with phones all opened up. Like, if I want my iPhone repaired in New York, I have to go to the Apple store, I gotta wait online, I gotta say goodbye to my phone for a while. But here, they know how to take apart my iPhone, fix it, and put it back together.
This is how the Computer Village ecosystem works, right? A young boy trying to make a better life for himself finds his way to Lagos. And one of his brothers, his uncles, is working here. And then he starts to learn how to repair mobile phones, right?
Right.
And sometimes I tend to think they do it with trial and error. So your phone might be just a practice.
Right.
Yeah.
But they get there eventually.
They get there eventually. And that's the success story of almost all the people you see here. Most of them came into this particular market with nothing. Okay, this is Stella's kitchen.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get some food.
Exactly.
Pounded yam is the ubiquitous starch of Nigerian cuisine. Here served with egusi soup, a stew of goat meat, melon seeds, fish stock, and chilies.
This is very, very good. So I've heard this market described as the perfect market. Now, what does that mean?
Right here, you can find on the same street about 20 people doing exactly the same thing. So you go to the first guy and you say, hey, I want to repair my phone. He says, okay, I can do it for you at 5,000 naira. Now, all you have to do is look across the road and find somebody who can do exactly the same thing. And he knows that, right? So he starts to think to himself, I better give him the best price I can possibly give him so that I can get his market.
Completely unregulated as far as prices.
Completely unregulated.
So it's really the free market at its purest.
Exactly. Lagos has been able to grow and expand its borders, and that comes from the sweat of people on the street.
Right.
Once government interferes in private activity, more often than not, they make it more complex, and they move it towards extinction.
Let's go.
A lot of people are outside the tax net, so the state government has to be very ingenious in trying to get taxes.
Right.
Who really runs the streets? The de facto front line of law and order are area boys.
The government tries to get people on the street, like the foot soldiers.
An area boys crew levels street taxes on, well, everything. Reporting to their regional boss, a king of boys.
This is our boss. This is our youth leader.
Taxis, buses, any target of opportunity pays.
You don't depend on government, fine, but you're running your own business.
Right.
So you pay a bribe, because that's the only way to get things done. Every person seems to be tainted a little.
Police, politicians, business leaders, everybody gets their piece of the action. It's a daily fact of life in Lagos.
This is a big oil-rich country. Why doesn't it look like Dubai?
Well, I hate to be on this show and talk Nigeria down. You know what it is? Because you hear all these things all the time. So yes, there is corruption. It is about corruption. It's about the fact that the resources that are supposed to be used for people aren't being used for people.
Kadaria Ahmed is a progressive journalist, editor, and TV host who moderates the presidential debates.
Years of military rule meant that people were brutalized. There was a fight against thinking.
There was an anti-intellectual movement where
Absolutely.
you were punished for...
Shamed
for
Yes.
reading, for having an education, for aspiring to those
So
things.
yeah, you saw a decline in education that continued for 30 years. The biggest obstacle in this country is the political class. Because what we've had, in Nigeria is, and if you lose elections, you then jump to the other party and you win elections. And then if you lose, you go back to this other party. So it's the same people. They're going to fight tooth and nail to stay in office and to keep the system the way it is.
Pepper soup is the food of the night in dark places. It burns. It burns real good.
Delicious. This is a very IT-savvy country. Nigerian internet scammers are world-renowned now.
They're a tiny minority, I must tell you.
It may not be a legitimate enterprise, but you've got some very smart, hardworking people.
They're very talented. Imagine if they were all well-educated, if they had access to finance. I believe if you're a black person, whether you're African or you're African-American, you're never going to get any respect unless there's a successful black nation.
It is unwise to hold other people, your employer, or even the government accountable for your success.
That is the only way people are going to respect you.
You must do it
Yourself.
Queen Elizabeth came to Nigeria in 1959. The 33 million people of England's most prosperous African colony were ready for independence.
A friend of mine sends me a text and says, are you aware of Nigerian psych rock of the 70s?
Yeah, there was a war in the late 60s. That caused a whole shift in the sound because before the war it was highlight. And after the war, it was rock and all sorts of sounds.
mind-blowing, like amazing stuff.
This was a game changer.
It's as if everybody took acid at the same time.
It was less the acid and more, let's just freak out.
These new sounds, mutations on funk, jazz, and rock, marked an explosive change in Nigerian culture.
How did it do when it came out?
It was wildfire.
Really? Was it?
It was a massive hit.
Kemi Castro is a collector and aficionado.
This is really where it started from. Blow. They had a very trippy song, which I'll play for you.
Yeah, let's hear it. This is freaky.
That shift in music had to do a lot with the war.
Nigeria's rebel eastern state, the Republic of Biafra, declared its independence.
That music was needed to translate the darkness.
Soldiers of the breakaway province suffered heavy casualties and ultimate defeat. 1,000 Biafrans a day died of starvation.
The music was a defiant middle finger to war, to corruption, and repressive military rule.
You know how military dictators try and control everything.
But of all the music of the time, nothing and nobody took it directly to the people in such explicitly confrontational terms as Afrobeat and its architect, Fela Kuti.
The government were giving Fela a hard time because he was protesting by name specific things. I mean, they identified him as an existential threat, and he was. People would show up at the shrine, like, what's he going to say? What's he mad about today?
Fela was an African superstar, a loud, persistent, and unwavering voice of opposition and resistance.
People protesting, but they didn't name names. But Fela would name names and say, you know, you're the...
For one decade, Fela's voice was the only voice here, opposing the dictators, and he paid a very high price. His house was burned. He was stopped from playing.
Fela died in 1997 of AIDS after a social life that could be best described as complicated. He married 27 wives in one day, for instance, but he left behind an enormous legacy and a family, including 2 internationally celebrated musicians in their own right, Femi and Shun Kuti.
Like a dead jump from like what I was from. It was a liar. That was a liar.
Because of Fela, we are able to voice our feelings today.
If things are not right, you can't just gloss over it. There is no reason why this country cannot be 10 times better.
Daughter Yenny runs this place, the New Africa Shrine,
We have more money, we have more oil, but we have bad leaders.
both a musical venue and political pulpit, with a vital position at the epicenter of Nigerian music.
So you drink beer?
Especially when Anthony is drinking beer, I'm drinking beer too.
How can you say because he's drinking beer, you're drinking beer?
I'm a fan.
Of him drinking beer?
No, of him. No, I'm a fan of beer too, but you know, he's drinking beer, I'm drinking beer.
You grew up at your dad's compound, and I know at one point he wanted you to become an area boy, and he thought that would be good street cred.
That's to put it kind of mild. He just wanted me to be, like, from the streets.
We've been running into area boards constantly through this week. I kind of want to know how the structure works.
If you wanted to go for election, for instance, you will need to see all the area boys. You'll have to give a lot of money for him to get all his gang members to vote for you. And if you do a good job in dealing with this, you probably would win.
That's not quite democracy, though, is it?
No, it's not. Nigeria is not really a democratic state.
Struggle music, struggle sounds, struggle people, struggle now. Struggle music, struggle sound, struggle people, struggle now. Struggle music, struggle sound.
What is going on in Africa today for me, I think, is a perverse kind of hopelessness. Working for a system that is oppressing you, and you know it's oppressing you, but you've given up that there's nothing I can do about it.
I mean, is that what you've seen? Because honestly,
Yeah.
I've never been in a country where everybody are working so hard at something.
They're hustling.
They're hustling. Look, I've been to the DRC, to Goma and Kisangani, and those were not hopeful places.
Yeah, but Nigeria is the same way as DRC in the north, huh? Because we have the Boko Haram insurgency, people are being killed, but nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to act as if it's as serious as, because Nigeria, we play the game. We are the kings of the game. We were so proud when Nigeria arrived in Kenya for the African Summit because we brought the most amount of private jets. You understand? This is their mentality. They are all elitist. You know, they have yachts. You know, in a country where 90% live in poverty.
It's self-esteem.
Self-esteem?
Yes. I see
It's
that
about what you own.
I see. No,
I don't think your
see.
self-esteem is about what you can buy.
Excuse
it should
me,
not be tied
it's not
about
what he
what
said.
you can afford.
As much as Nigeria is bad, there is hope. When I grew up, we were like caged in. We couldn't sit here like this. The police will come here and beat everybody up. A generation will come where they will say, enough is enough. Let's take back our lives.
Femi Kuti for president.
Don't listen to him.
FKFP, Nigeria resistance.
Struggle sound like the weapon of the future. Struggle sound like the weapon of the future.
It is the melody of the angels of death. Do not be afraid.
The Hausa are the largest tribal group in Nigeria. Known originally as cattlemen, they have become powerful politically as well. This is Dembe boxing, a very old and very brutal fighting art, deeply ingrained in Hausa traditions, particularly among the butcher class. It is a way for tough young men to earn a few bucks.
We are African man!
Prove themselves and break up the grim routine of their daily lives.
All Hausa versus Hausa.
Yeah, Hausa versus Hausa.
You hit with one hand.
Yeah, the other one is to block.
Agege. Sitting beside you is the Emir of Agege.
You are welcome to our humble tribe.
Thank you.
Interreligious and intertribal violence has been a fact of life for years in Nigeria. There are over 300 tribes, and tens of thousands have died during such conflicts. In Lagos, some are trying to rewrite that narrative. The neighborhood of Agege is a melting pot of different tribes and religious groups.
This was originally a Yoruba area, yes?
Yes.
But the Hausa people have been living here for a very, very
Yes,
long
for a
time,
long
cooperating
time.
very...
154 years ago.
There are intermarriages in between us and them. So that is why there are a lot of understanding.
Masa, rice cakes made from Nigerian sticky rice, sugar, and potash, a mineral-rich salt.
This is fura. It's made from millet and milk.
It's more like a yogurt, a little slightly sour.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
This is one of the surprising foods. It's also made of beans.
This is all beans?
Yes.
Ganwake, high-protein bean flour dumplings served with tomatoes, onions, and a peppery sauce.
Delicious.
The moringa.
And moringa salad, made from the leaves of the zogala tree and said to have medicinal properties. Kuli powder is a garnish or condiment made from ground peanuts.
What do you see the future of this area and your people?
Anything relies on education. We promote both Western and Arabic knowledge. The whole Africa or even the whole world is represented in Lagos, so we have to work together. The Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lived with Christians and Jews peacefully without any problem. We believe if there is no peace, there will be no progress. You cannot go to mosques, you cannot go to church, you cannot go to school, you cannot go to work.
We love Lagos, we love peace. And we pray to Almighty Allah to continue living in peace. God bless Lagos. God bless Nigeria.
Good cooking takes time. As more and more Lagosian men and women enter the workforce, fewer and fewer cook the old way. Long, low and slow preparations that can take hours.
The Lagos upbeat style makes it impossible for you to cook everything at home, so you go, you buy from the street.
So who blogs about food here?
We all do. We all blog
All
about.
of
Yeah.
Atim, her mom, Iku, and friend Oz are all hard workers, holding down multiple jobs between them. But they hang on to their fierce love of food and cooking.
Who were your readers?
Primarily Nigerians.
Homesick Nigerians also, I would think, in this stage.
Particularly homesick.
Yeah. But then people that are married to Nigerians that want to learn the cuisine.
These days, one often eats quickly at a place like this. Yakoyo, serving traditional Nigerian dishes made the way they should be made.
This is called ewedu. It's jute leaf.
Soweto is a soup from the Yoruba tribe. Crayfish, chilies, locust beans, and jute leaves.
This is good.
Have you had jollof rice?
It's rice cooked with...
Tomato sauce.
Spiced tomato sauce. Yeah. It's almost like Spanish red rice.
Jollof rice, a staple across West Africa. Country of origin? Don't get into that issue. It's contentious. All I can tell you is it's delicious.
Now, who runs these businesses?
You walk in and you see an old lady sitting by the corner.
Yeah.
Her eyes are darting.
Yeah. You know, she's checking, she's counting tables, you know. Has the girl brought back my money?
Yeah.
So she sits there to control her money.
In the back, you see a guy cooking big batches to refill.
Yeah.
Okay. This is pounded yam.
Of course. This I've seen.
And this is amala.
Pounded and cooked, kind of like this.
No.
This is yam, raw, sliced, ground into a flour, and then cooked into a meal. A bit like grits.
Yes. It's about what you want, how you want to combine it.
Thank you. So you don't tilt your glass when you're pouring there?
I do, I'm just lazy. Man, you guys are harsh.
No.
I'm gonna be reading about myself on your blog. He's an animal at the table. Food here is really, really good.
We're seeing quite a bit of evolution going on. We're not all sit-at-home moms anymore. Not many people want to pound yam. She certainly does not want to pound yam. And I'm sure when she's getting married, one of her gifts to her husband's house would not be a mortar and a pestle.
Unlike 20 or 30 years ago.
A food processor, most likely.
Right.
And personally, I think maybe women my generation might have failed people like her by not passing things on. But now, thanks to food bloggers, the younger ladies have
an
avenue to get this information without depending on their mom.
How much interest in food is there these days? More?
More. Nigerians are big on meat.
Yeah.
So when you see that we have a few vegan chefs, people.
Wow, vegans.
Yes. in Nigeria, I think that shows you just how much people are finding their niches.
Yeah. But that's for a certain social class. The bulk of the people still, they don't have access to the internet. They don't care.
Yeah, that's
the guy just wants to fill his tummy for the day, So yeah, food is changing, but it's not a revolution yet.
Kids with no education. Now they're fixing iPhones.
And imagine if they were all well educated.
They say that where there's a will, there's a way. And there is plenty of will in Nigeria. Find a niche, create a business, build a home, a school, a community, or look beyond to creating a new society. Andela, co-founded by Ayanolawa Aboyele and run in Nigeria by Sani Suleiman, is a rigorous training program that teaches coders and engineers with the goal of creating no less than a continent-wide ecosystem of high-value software developers.
My mom had a mobile shop, something like what's in Computer Village, and that's where I grew up. She'll sell mobile phones, they'll fix it there, and she just used to run that.
I tried looking for a job, but the jobs I got, I'm like, no, I don't want to be a salesperson, I don't want to be a secretary. So that's why I got to the programming.
Shalom and Blessing are trainees in the program, people who will someday rewrite the way Africa works.
As you can see, there are a lot of issues in Nigeria today. The average Nigerian is struggling to just food, water, clothing, shelter. We all believe that this will change, and we all believe that we'll change that. In the US, for every software developer that's looking for a job, there are 5 openings, which means there's a massive opportunity to get these awesome people who are really smart and really driven to be ready to take on Africa's challenges.
But that's what's special about this place. Most people are kind of resigned to the reality that they have. We're creating an alternate reality where there's always going to be power for you to do your work.
Africa, it should be stressed, is home to 7 of the 10 fastest growing internet populations in the world, with a huge, young, and mostly untapped labor pool of eager and ambitious people.
The impact in very short period of time is incredible. Before we started, people would rarely hire African developers, and now they can.
Many of us have been products of multinational experiences. So I grew up in Nigeria, spent time in Paris, went to the US, and eventually I came back home. We're all connected. We know what's happening around the world. And you ask yourself, if that's happening literally just a few hours by plane away from here, why is it not happening here? But technology is going to change this continent.
There is no other place in the world where you have the opportunity to build the future from scratch.
It's for me and you to run. Rock up for revolution now. Revolution now. Revolution now.
Where will Lagos be in 10 years? Or 20? Change is inevitable. The problem's enormous. But the desire, the hope is there. To change not just Nigeria, but the world.
We've got all the conditions for a revolution.
The revolution must be televised. The revolution must be televised. Radio revolution. Television revolution.
Don't just build a CV, build a life. Be better in real life than on paper.